So there's a new retro gaming console coming out called the Seedi, and I want to talk about this. It's on Indiegogo right now. They have not reached their funding target yet, but I believe that they will reach it. And this is being compared to a console I am highly enthusiastic about and really disappointed that I have to wait until summer of 2018 to get, which is the PolyMega, or you may know it by its older name, the RetroBlox. And I do believe that this CD will get funded because their promotional campaign has gone up. They're kicking it into high gear with Metal Jesus. They shipped Metal Jesus a console so that he can review it, a prototype. And that news came out on October 6th. So what is the CD? Okay, I'm not going to get into what is the RetroBlox slash PolyMega because I've already made videos about that. But this is a competitor, and I'm glad that the CD is coming out because that's going to kick the PolyMega guys right in the ball sack because they were supposed to have theirs out. I believe their initial target was October, November of this year of 2017, and they didn't do it. So now they got competition. And what is the CD? It's very similar, has a lot of similarities to the PolyMega. It plays CD games as the main feature, hence the name CD, as in a CD. Right now, though, it only plays the CD console games, the PS1, TurboGrafx CD, Neo Geo CD, and the Sega CD. However, they have announced that they do plan to make the console compatible with other CD-based games in the future, possibly through a possibly additional modules. However, one thing that it can do that the PolyMega does not do is that it actually plays ROMs. And for some reason, though, it only plays a very select few number of ROMs at the moment, which is the NES, Sega Genesis, arcade games, Game Boy, Original Color, GBA, Atari 2600, and the TurboGrafx 16. Great list. I don't know what it is with these guys, but they seem to have a fetish with the Sega Genesis and not and they don't like the Super Nintendo because if you scroll down a little bit further, it the console will also play cartridge-based games with a retroed adapter sold separately, similar to the PolyMega separate modules. However, with the CD, there's a lot less modules. That's one of their biggest perks. I might even be purchasing one, although I'm a big PolyMega fan. So here's the thing. The cartridge games will only out of the box support Sega Genesis, Game Boy, and they're in the works of creating uh, adapters for Genesis and SNES controllers, Super NES controllers, but no Super Nintendo adapter to play your cartridge-based games. They went with, and not even the NES. These guys really like their Sega Genesis, which I have no problem with. I love the Sega Genesis. But I just find it very strange because the Super Nintendo was actually more popular than the Genesis. There's a lot of Genesis fanboys out there, but the Super Nintendo won the war in the end. Genesis was winning in the beginning, but towards the latter days of the consoles, the Super Nintendo dominated. So what else does it do? It also plays DVDs, audio CDs. It it can do streaming, online streaming, YouTube. Probably you can put some Netflix on there. You could probably browse the internet, so it does very similar to PolyMega. However, here's something that they did not specify. They didn't go into detail. It says online multiplayer for some systems. But which systems and how would that work? Because if you can make it so that I can play my PS1 games, my Sega CD games, my Sega Genesis games, pretty much any retro game, if you can make it so that I can go online and play Contra, or what's a good Sega CD game, PlayStation 1 game, what's a good PS1 game, Team Buddies, Hidden Gem. If you can make it so that I can go and play four-player online Team Buddies through your CD console, you would probably sell 1 million units. Okay, and I hope the developers see this. It will have like built-in save states. It does use 32 gigabyte SD card storage, 32 gigs available. Technical specs, yeah, HDMI, Wi-Fi, 1080p, 720p, all the jazz. It does work with any controller that has a USB port, pretty much anything, including the ones with the little dongles or whatever it's called, where you can hook up your original PlayStation controller by plugging it into a special third-party device that switches it to a USB connector. However, here's the kicker that they have that the PolyMega does not. You can also play DOS games. I kid you not, DOS games. They're calling it the uh, DOS games for 386 and below via Seedi in what they're calling DOS box. I've never heard of this. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's free software that they're loading onto their console. So here's some pictures of in the top right here. This is what the little additional add-on will be, the additional module where you can hook up your Game Boy or your Sega Genesis game. They will be making more. They've announced, pending probably if it actually sells. And the green one is the limited edition version because that's what people did in the 90s. Us 90s kids, we love limited edition stuff. We love colored crap as long as it's limited. Look at the N64, 10 million colors, 10 million editions. So let's get on to some fact here. I'm just giving you the cut and dry best of the best stuff. If you want more detail, you're going to have to look up yourself. I'm giving you the short version. Right to the good stuff. How does Seedi make my games look good on my TV? Here's the answer. Old TVs and game systems have various analog properties that resulted in a blurred picture, which made them look great. And they were designed for this environment. They were designed for the tube TVs, the CRT televisions. Those televisions had crap picture quality. And so when developers back in the day made the NES games, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo games, they designed the graphics in a way that it would look good on these crappy TVs. So then in the second half, he says when you hook up your classic systems to high definition TVs, they lose a lot of these effects and end up looking weird/bad. Seedi uses a few techniques enabled by default to automatically correct these issues so that the game looks like they were supposed to, meaning you don't have to buy those fancy third-party consoles anymore. This is kind of a three in one here because you're getting that additional bonus for retro gamers. The only problem is they need to support more retro games, which the PolyMega has already solved. However, I do like the guy's comment here at the top from Joey R75. Been waiting for the RetroBlox / PolyMega system forever. I'm on your team now, back to the green. I like this guy because I am pissed off with those PolyMega guys. I love the PolyMega, but they delayed that thing. That's what happens when you delay like that. Competition comes in, they're stealing the PolyMega customers. If you go on to the Indiegogo campaign for Seedi, you'll see like 5 comments all talking about the PolyMega because we want the PolyMega and we don't have it because the PolyMega screwed us. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but they might not even do a Kickstarter campaign anymore because they got big investors funding them. Yeah, that's great and all, but where's my system? I want to play it now. However, here's the catch. This system doesn't have Twitch streaming capabilities like the PolyMega is promising. So that being said, that's probably the main reason why I'm still going to buy the PolyMega and I will not be buying this console. And I would actually recommend that people wait for the PolyMega as much as I want these guys to succeed. Their price is right. It's not running on a Raspberry Pi, okay? It's running on a level above a Raspberry Pi. And the base system with 2 controllers, I believe, is $150 US plus shipping. It's a great price. We don't yet know entirely what the PolyMega is going to cost. So this might be more cost efficient. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Seedi versus the PolyMega, which one's better and why.